What would our favourite heroes be without some good old villains to take down? Even Wolverine wouldn't be the silver-clawed mutant we love if it wasn't for Stryker, right? From chronic sadism to pure universal energies, villains come in all shapes and sizes, not to mention fancy agendas too. The X-Men movies have always brought a generous heap of villains, human and mutant, to keep the action rolling. So please like and subscribe while also giving me a follow on Twitter at TV Regent. And without further ado, let's count down Volume 2 of the most overpowered X-Men villains in movies. Starting things off is Agent Zero, William Stryker's second in command. Being the henchman of one of the most ruthless and sadistic characters definitely earns anyone a spot on this list, and running in league with Victor Creed gives generous brownie points too. Agent Zero is probably one of the best marksmen in the X-Men universe. His mutant abilities include kinetic energy absorption, which means he absorbs the energy from blows and falls without injury. He also has superhuman agility, contributing to his excellent marksman skills. In X-Men Origins, Wolverine, his skills combined with his deadshot lethality managed to give Wolverine a tough time as well. Zero is the perfect soldier given his habit of carrying out orders without question. Although it may seem like Zero blindly follows orders, he's not the dumb follower type. He's actually a pretty smart guy who enjoys his work under Stryker. Talk about loving your job.
Remember Agent Zero?
Still shooting first, asking questions later?
You still chewing on cheap cigars?
You can do your best to save a patient, but sometimes the most humane thing to do is put it to sleep.
There are good doctors, there are bad doctors, and then there's Cecilia Reyes. A mutant working for the infamous Essex Corporation, Cecilia was in charge of turning young mutants into the company's personal army. She starts off as a seemingly caring doctor who wants the mutant kids to overcome their trauma. At the beginning, she's the perfect motherly figure the lost kids need, but underneath that sweet smile, Celia is a dark and ominous person who wholeheartedly believes in enslaving mutants. She also has no remorse in killing a young mutant. Her dedication to what she believes in is made obvious when she tries to kill Danny while holding her shredded pieces together. What's overlooked is just how powerful Cecilia is. She was able to hold and maintain a force field around a large area. She had the strength to create fields strong enough to trap other mutants, even when she was gravely injured. In the end, it takes 5 mutants and a demon bear to take Cecilia down.
As I live and breathe, the Wolverine. And he's a junkie now.
One of the main antagonists in Logan, Donald Pierce, was the leader of the Reavers and led the search party for Laura. Pierce is your good old tacky mercenary with a messed up sense of humor. Leading his ragtag group of rebels, Pierce enjoys throwing his weight around and dropping threats along the way. Working for a powerful company gives him all the bragging rights, and it's all the more fun for him that the company also happens to be a sadistic one. Apart from murdering and torturing, nothing makes him happier than gloating over Wolverine. His admiration was nothing but a bluff to gloat over him being able to overpower the Wolverine. Pierce is a proud and vain character who enjoys the thrill of a good hunt and kill, and is also a cybernetically enhanced human with a prosthetic arm. He believes that this gives him just as much bragging rights as the mutants. For all his attitude, Pierce adds some much needed humor into an otherwise super dark movie. In the end, his ruthless sadism earned him a slow, painful death.
With you at my side, I survived Nagasaki. Surely I could survive this.
If an adamantium set of claws could do so much, imagine adamantium armor. That's probably what Ichiro Yashida was thinking when he designed the Silver Samurai. The reveal of the Silver Samurai in the Wolverine was the plot twist of the generation. Yashida was a soldier whose life was saved by Logan. Years later, Logan's invited to see the dying man to say goodbye. Who knew Yashida was planning to say goodbye to Logan and not the other way round? He tried his best to coat in an unselfish love for Logan, as if all he wanted was for Logan to live a happy and ordinary life. But deep down, Yashida was simply an old man afraid of dying. In the end, he was so twisted that his own granddaughter renounced him. Given the money and resources he had, it wasn't all too hard for Yashida to create what he wanted. His desperation combined with his ingenuity and power almost managed to murder Logan. In a way, Yashida expected Logan to refuse his offer, giving his adamantium samurai some screen time.
Transfer your unwanted healing to my body.
He's fantastic.
You said you only needed the girl!
I told you I was forced to bring you two to bear. Your friends had every chance, and so did you.
The big bad boss of Donald Pierce, Xander Rice, was the head of Transigen. Remember the company that cloned Wolverine? If you're thinking that Xander gives off Stryker vibes, well, you're not too far from the truth. Xander's father was Stryker's subordinate at the Weapon X facility who was killed when Wolverine escaped. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree now, does it? And what better way to get revenge on your father's killer than cloning him? From amongst all the mutant haters in the X-Men universe, Xander is one of the few who managed to successfully erase the mutant population. Too bad his mutant child experiments escaped into the world, or he'd have managed to create a world without mutants. Xander's a classic high-functioning psychopath. With his smooth and calm manner, no one could guess his sadistic preferences. In true psychotic nature, he's blind to the sheer brutality of his actions and thinks that he's doing something good for the world by controlling mutants. Add to that his pride and arrogance, and you get a true asylum-worthy villain.
It was my father's obsession with mutation, with God's mistake, like you and her.
Trying to murder your own daughter out of jealousy over a family business is a definite low for any person. But hey, he did earn a spot on the top villains list. Shingen Yashida is the son of Ichiro Yashida, the Silver Samurai. Like we said, the apple really doesn't fall far now, does it? He was always jealous that his father favored his granddaughter over him. For years, he tried to win his father's trust, even hiding the adamantium stockpiling. But come Judgment Day, and Mariko is his successor. It's not like Shingen was a bad businessman, he actually stopped the company from going bankrupt. He's a shrewd and skilled person who was completely overlooked by his father. Daddy issues always make for the craziest villains. That's probably why he hired the Yakuza to kill his own daughter. Shingen can't handle defeat too well. He couldn't bear to be beaten by his own daughter, and he couldn't accept his defeat with Wolverine either. He's one of those folks desperately trying to have the last laugh, and it eventually gets him killed, but not before showing off his excellent swordsmanship.
You know, when you sent our soldiers to Vietnam without the weapons they needed to win the war, you underestimated your enemy.
Remember the freaky Sentinels from the days of future past? Well, Bolivar Trask is the brains behind the Sentinels project. Contrary to popular belief, Trask was actually a huge fan of mutants. I know, he created machines that murdered mutants by the thousands, and he was fond of experimenting on mutants, but he was actually quite fascinated by genes and mutations. Like every other mad scientist, Trask starts off with getting ridiculed for his insane theories. But like all mad scientists, Trask was not going to give up. In a way, he was like Stryker, with experimenting and sadistic hobbies. But unlike Stryker, Trask was driven by his fascination for mutants, not loathing. Also unlike Stryker, who was a master strategist, Trask is a brilliant scientist. His understanding of the mutant gene was beyond any of the studies ever made. Over the years in the X-Men series, there were plenty of humans who predicted the end of the human race and wanted to see the end of mutants, but no one came so close to succeeding as much as Trask.
See, we've had this small disruption to our supply chain. We'd appreciate your patience.
Speaking of experimenting, next up we have Ajax, aka Francis Freeman from the first Deadpool movie. Ajax works at his own torture chamber called The Workshop, where he literally tinkers on humans to bring out their mutations and superhuman abilities. But surviving his sadistic procedures doesn't mean you get to walk out in a fancy cape. He sells the enhanced humans to the highest bidder. And given how many people come looking for miracles, business was booming for Ajax. Given that his nerve endings are scorched, Ajax can't feel any pain. And given his lack of empathy and sadism, he really doesn't feel anything anyway. He enjoys the sadistic power he has within his facility, and he enjoys torturing his patients. Ajax is generally pretty calm, but absolutely hates being outsmarted. Being a no-nonsense guy, he's almost never impressed by Deadpool's humor. Then we have one of the few female antagonists in the X-Men series. A survivor of the destruction of the Phoenix Force, Vuk is a lethal mix of power hunger and survival instincts. Vuk's the leader of the alien race Dabari, who chased the Phoenix Force to Earth and murders a human woman to assume her identity, because nobody's gonna notice the creepy death stares from the one cheerful human. The shapeshifters are after the power of the Phoenix Force, and Vuk kills and tortures like nobody's business to get her prize. If nothing else, her determination deserves an award. She also doesn't plan to leave in peace. In classic Alien style, she wants to wipe out humans and make Earth her home planet. That one never gets old, does it? Just like her icy cold stares, Vuk is a cold-hearted creature with a clinical lack of remorse. Vuk does have one major strength, apart from her dashing good looks of course. Other than Jean Grey, she's the only person who was able to manipulate the Phoenix Force, or at least some of it. capable of destroying entire planets in just a few short seconds. To clear out any well-warranted confusions, the Dark Phoenix isn't Jean Grey. Jean is the host for this mysterious and destructive force. Jean Grey happens to be an extremely powerful, Omega level to be precise, mutant who can harness the Dark Phoenix without the force killing her. The people around her aren't so fortunate and usually end up being collateral damage. The Dark Phoenix magnifies Jean's telepathy and telekinesis, but this comes at the cost of her sanity. In X-Men The Last Stand, Jean loses her kind and caring nature and turns into a contorted, destructive person. Dark Phoenix also manages to induce anger management issues which can be deadly in a person as powerful as Jean. And that was Volume 2 of the top 10 overpowered X-Men villains in the movies. Apart from giving a chance for the heroes to flex their muscles, the best villains bring in a dash of comedy and flair into the movies, and we love them, don't we? So please like, share and subscribe to the channel while also giving me a follow on Twitter @TVRegent. I'll see you next time. See ya!